Have you ever felt like your voice just vanished? And not because of laryngitis, and not because you stopped speaking, but because somewhere along the way, life convinced you that your story didn't matter, that your experiences weren't dramatic enough, that you were just a mom, just a woman in midlife trying to figure out what's next. But let me tell you something, friend. The minute we minimize our stories, we silence our power. We silence a superpower. I'm Jody Silverman. You're listening to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm not just your coach or just the host of this show. I'm your biggest fan and your personal permission slip to stop shrinking and start daring. Today's episode, it's going to hit differently because I'm talking with someone who helped me find and use my voice, Jen Rogers, coach, podcast mentor, and voice reclaimer extraordinaire, is here to walk you through what it really means to believe your story matters and how to own the room with your words. Jen even puts me in the hot seat. You're going to love it. And when you're ready to kick the self minimizing habits to the curb, like just and sorry, check out the link in the show notes. I've got a resource that will help you because your words have power and it's time to use them. All right, let's dive in. Hey, Jen, and welcome to the show.
Hey there. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm excited about this one. So, fun fact, everybody, Jen is my coach. Jen is my coach, specifically supporting me with my podcast, with this show you're listening to right now. And I can say without a doubt, Jen, you are brilliant and remarkable because it's not just about podcasting, it's about your knowledge and expertise in how women can amplify their voices. And
Absolutely.
I just love that. I love that. So I'm so excited to have you here. This is a special episode. Special episode.
Uh,
All right. So I know that you say, and you stand firm on our story as our superpower.
yes.
So let's start with your story. Share a little bit about who Jen Rogers is.
Oh my gosh. So a long, long time ago, in a mobile home far, far away, I was watching my sister's kids, and they were littles. I don't remember their ages, three kids under five. And I was 11 years old, and I was in the kitchen and I was making lunch, something. And during that time, there were phones on the wall with the really long cords and the rotary
Oh
dials.
gosh, the rotary.
The
God forbid the
rotaries.
number had a zero in it.
God forbid. So I'm making lunch and they're playing nicely and the phone rings and I pick up the phone and I hear words that an 11-year-old should never hear. Fast forward to in my 40s when my mama died unexpectedly. She had gone in for a routine dental procedure and it went bad. So when she passed away, the few days in that scuttle, that confusion, I needed to go do something for me. And I needed to feel good and I needed to feel pretty. So, what do? We usually go get a spa treatment, something. So, I went to get a haircut, and it was one of those swanky places where they offer you a lovely glass of Chardonnay and they just treat you wonderfully. So, after work, I went and got my hair done, enjoyed the experience, trying to forget about all of the things that an executor of a state and planning a funeral has to think about. And when I got home, it was about 7:30. Now, my youngest daughter was there and she was in bed. That's early for a teenager to be in bed 7:30 in the evening.
Oh yeah.
So I went over, I nuzzled her, kissed her goodnight, and I went into the kitchen and I just looked around my mom's kitchen and my mom's home. And I looked around and I remembered all those sweet moments where she would serve me coffee over the island and we'd have these delightful conversations. And then the phone rang
Hmm.
and I picked up the phone and it was my mom. Now, my mom was not physically on the other end of that phone, but my mom was speaking to me to let me know that she was warm because she was always cold. And how much she enjoyed our conversations out on the back deck with the sunshine streaming down. It's just incredible. And after the conversation, I looked at the phone in disbelief and hung it up and didn't know what to do with that. Now, as you're listening, you may not believe that that happened to me, that either phone call happened to me. And in fact, my sister did not believe me at 11 years old when I told her that her father in law had spoken things to me that no 11-year-old girl should hear. She
Hmm.
didn't believe me. None of that matters now. What matters is that experience of having my voice taken from me in unexpected ways is what has me doing what I'm doing right now. Coaching people, entrepreneurs to launch and stay launched with their podcasts. And in the process, we get to have great conversations like you and I have, great coaching sessions that have zero to do with podcasting and everything to do with digging in and grabbing on to our God given voices. And as women, we know we often shut up and shut down and refuse to stand our ground. And I'm on a mission, just as you are, to make a change where women have the confidence when they walk in the room that everyone will turn and want to know who that person is because they recognize that that woman is a woman of influence and a woman of impact. So that's what I do.
Oh, well, that's a right there. We were going to talk about mic drop moments in a minute, but that was a mic drop moment for me. I loved your story. My first time hearing it, and I loved it. I think it's a beautiful story. And so many questions. That's a whole nother time. But so, how does somebody find their voice, find that story within them? Because I think, and I was included in this, Jen, when I first started out in this coaching public speaking world. I was in a world where I was listening to speakers on stage with such stories. I mean, hardship, hardship stories. And I sat there for a long time thinking, well, who am I? I don't have a hardship story. I didn't really have, my hardships were mine, but not like living homeless, being broke, not having any parents. Like I didn't have those hardships. And for a little while, I thought, well, what would I say if I got up there? Would my story even be meaningful? And I think that's true for a lot of us out there. So where do you begin to understand that your story is in you, and regardless of the drama behind the story, it's a unique story.
Yeah, there's no one like you. There's
Mhm.
no one. I mean, you may have a doppelganger. I think I have a few doppelgangers out there, but there's no one like you. Your inner being, your inner thoughts, your experiences. And that means there's no one that has your perspective. So when we're thinking about a mic drop moment, I actually like to say we want to move to mic drop mastery. And when we
Mm.
move to mastery, that means we're actually not concerned about the moments per se. We're concerned about the connection. And we want to make sure that we focus on the audience that we're serving, which is why I asked you, hey, what do you want your audience to take away with by the end of our time together? And that's what put us on this road to have this conversation. And that's the question you must ask. So if you're sitting there, like Jody described, she was looking at someone, remembering hearing someone on stage and saying, gosh, that couldn't be me. What if you're wrong? What if you could be the woman on stage? If she were fearless, what would she do?
Yeah.
That's what I really want to know because mic drop mastery comes in when you're focused on who you're speaking to, not on you. So when you're focused all on you, you're going to be focused all on you. And how many times have you run into someone who is always busy talking about what they do and what they think and what they want and what they like and what they don't like and what they've done? And you know, the whole I've been there, got the t-shirt kind of people, that's not, there's no joy in that. So how can you bring somebody else joy? That's how you can practice mic drop moments by thinking about one moment at a time and then stringing them together for mastery.
Oh, I love that. I love that. We're going to get more into the mic drop moments in a minute, but
Okay.
you say there's a forbidden word, a forbidden word. So what is the one word that women say on repeat that minimizes who they are?
Oh my gosh, such a great question. The first word that comes to mind, just.
Mm,
I'm just an empty nester.
hmm.
I'm just a mom. I'm just someone who probably could never make it on a stage. I'm just tired. I'm just this. I'm just that. So there's actually a second word. You want to know what it is?
Yes. I,
Sorry. I'm
oh,
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I spilt this. I opened the door and it bumped you. I dropped something. I'm sorry. So let's back up and go with the just, and then we're going to get to the sorry.
Yes,
Sorry
please.
is a soapbox, but just is stronger because it slips out without us noticing it. And it's a four-letter word for a reason. It actually needs to be verboten. Whenever you just something, you are minimizing whatever follows after that. So instead of I'm just an empty nester, I'm a woman who is celebrating the fact that my kids have flown the coop because life at home flying solo, while sometimes I don't know exactly what to do with myself, I'm figuring it out.
Yes.
Not I'm just this.
Yeah.
What's another? Let's work on
I
let me
well, I'll
punt
tell
one
you.
to you.
I know
Let me
one.
punt an
I know
example
one.
to you. Yeah.
When you said it, you triggered it. When you said whatever hap comes, you've minimized whatever comes after just. But the word but, it
Yes.
negates everything that you just said before. I always talk about being a yes and person or
Uh-huh.
a yes but person. Because if
Uh-huh.
everything is yes but, you're not going anywhere.
That's
Yes,
right.
but it's hard. Yes, but I don't have the right mic. Yes, but without my kids here, I don't know who I am.
Uh-huh.
It's true, you might feel that way.
Yeah.
And now you get to figure it out. So, but's a
Yeah.
big one for me.
Yeah, I got that from a girlfriend. Actually, you've interviewed her on the show. I got it from Misty. So she was
Oh,
studying improv. Did you
yes.
do a post about improv, the yes and? I think you
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And that reminded me. So she was sharing her improv experience with me, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is gold. So there's probably a lot of yes ands in the emails that I send and in conversations that I have, or
Yes.
when I catch myself. Yes, this is true. And what am I going to do with what I know to be true? Because the feelings, the emotions, when we feel less than, it's not that that's not what you're experiencing, it's intel. So, what do you want to do with the intelligence? Your body is signaling something is wrong. It's like when you stub your toe, there's a pretty big signal there that something is wrong. And your emotions, it's the same. Your emotions are signaling to you, hey, ladybug, something's up. I want you to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
What will you do with it? So I'm with you. So there's sorry,
Right.
there's just, there's but, there's probably a few more, but those are the heavy hitters.
And I love what you said. Sorry is a soapbox. I actually, and I'm really, really, really good at catching myself with the sorry. And
Uh-huh.
yet the other day I was walking and somebody bumped into me and I was sorry. And I said, well, I'm like, I'm not sorry. Like I said it out loud, like, I'm not sorry.
Uh-huh.
Like, why did I say that? So it
Yeah.
happens, but it's a practice. It's a practice not to
Yeah.
say sorry, but and just, and
Yes.
to just own your brilliance, own your story.
Yeah.
I did, and that's what I did. I was like, well, my story matters, and it'll resonate to somebody out there. Like you said, my voice, nobody's me, so my voice matters. So I love that. I love that. So let's get rid of just. Let's work
Yes.
one at a time. Just, but, and sorry. Just one at a time. Don't overhaul your whole world. You'll go crazy. You won't say anything.
Yeah.
You'll be walking around quiet. But I like that. That is, and I had a feeling we are going to go with just. Just is a big one.
Let's do it.
It's a
Let's
big
go
one.
with
I
that.
love that. I do. I love that. And actually, I will share with you, was it AI a while ago? The word just was in something and it said, get rid of that. It called it a passive word or
Mm.
some kind of word, and it suggested, and that's when I realized just needs to get out of my language. So I like that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, our language is powerful because our language creates things. I mean, look around your room right now. If you were to look around your room or out the car window, wherever you are, or at the baby's butt if you're cleaning a diaper, I'm not sure, the grandbaby's diaper.
Yeah, so happy I'm not there. Go ahead.
But wherever you are, look around and what's something that could bring you joy?
Hmm.
Just from what you see, what's something that could bring you joy? And as I look at the screen, you and I have talked, we just have such a beautiful connection. I experience a lot of joy in your presence. And I also look
Oh,
around and I see the lights for all the podcasting stuff. I love that I've been able to upgrade my equipment one expensive light at a time or
yes.
one expensive microphone at a time. But we don't start out there. And it goes to what we're talking about here that wherever you are right now, if you're right at the beginning of a transition that you're experiencing, the best thing you probably could do would be to take some time, maybe set a timer for 33 minutes. Set a timer for 33 minutes and sit there and journal about what you're feeling. Don't lift up the pen, just journal about what you're feeling because sometimes, not far too often, I would say, far too often, we do not give ourselves permission to explore what's really going on in those pretty heads of ours. And that creates trouble down the road.
It's true. And when you free form journal like that and just drop out of your head and into your heart and just let the words flow, some truths come out. And it might
Yeah.
be hard, but it's worth it. It's cathartic. It's very cathartic to see that because when you see, oh my God, I wrote that I'm really unhappy in my current job. Okay. Okay, it's not the end all of it. That's a knowledge is power.
Right.
Right? We can admit to ourselves we're unhappy. I know a lot of women in this chapter, Jen, who just fell out of love with what they were doing. It became, instead of a passion and a career and fun, exciting, it was just a thing they went to every day, a job. And I have one woman in particular who's in my Dare On membership, and she was not happy and she wanted to start a Reiki business.
Uh-huh.
She's very spiritually connected. She has such a high vibration woo about her.
Uh-huh.
And I said, so start it on the side.
Yeah.
And I encouraged her and we coached a little bit about what was standing in her way. And I said this to her because it happened to me. If you started even a tiny bit on the side, that job that you wake up dreading gets a little bit more palatable
Uh-huh.
because you have something to look forward to outside of it. You don't quit it, you need the money,
Uh-huh.
but you can start. So yeah,
Yeah.
so find your voice. I love that journal. Figure it out. And I like that you said your emotions tell you a lot. Pay attention to how you
Yeah.
feel when you're thinking. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about mic drop moments before we went into just, and I don't want to gloss over it because I like the word mic drop moments.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I know you speak specifically to podcasters, but go back to what you were saying about finding your joy and the joy for other people. And that's a mic drop moment. I want to talk a little bit more because I really liked what you were saying and I want to hear it again.
Yeah, I want to. I'm what comes up for me is my signature talk is the you know when. And I know you know the you know when. And I modeled that in a different way with you because I didn't want to start with the you know when because I knew you would catch me because I know you're listening for that now. So when you asked me about who I was, the worst thing you can do is say, I'm so and I do this thing and that thing and the other thing, because people automatically check out. Instead, drop something that has someone saying, wait, what? What did you say? Because it's a pattern interrupt. So when somebody asks you to introduce yourself, how could you introduce yourself in a way that would compel someone to ask you a new question? So if the roles were reversed, Jody, and I'm interviewing you and I'm getting ready to introduce you on my podcast, Simplify Podcasting, I'm going to say, Jody, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Oh, I'm just fine. Just fine. I threw out just fine on purpose. I'm amazing. I'm feeling pretty energetic because, like you said earlier, Jen, I got my hair cut.
Yeah.
And when you get your hair cut, all sorts of things happen and change. It's like a
It's
whole new vibe going on in my world.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is a whole new vibe. So if you were to introduce yourself, how would you start in a way that could hook an audience?
When I was in high school, I moved actually from my neighborhood in Northeast Philadelphia right across the street, but that put me in a different county. And all my friends were heading off to Girls High, and there I was heading off to Cheltenham High School. It was a time warp. Just cross the street. It was a whole different world for me. A whole different world. The girls were different. They looked different. They dressed different. They talked different. I really felt like this square peg that didn't
Mhm.
fit in any of the holes that were in this school. And I also came to realize right away that there were sports. There were no girls' sports in the school that I went to. I went to K through 8 in a Philadelphia school. There were no sports for girls. There wasn't field hockey, lacrosse, tennis. No, I mean, I was exposed to tennis in summer camp, but you never wanted to play tennis. It was the hottest part of the camp, and you had to go chase your own balls. So that was out. I'm a tennis player now. But all of these girls that I was getting to know, they were going out for their tennis team and the field hockey team and lacrosse. I was so intimidated, so intimidated. I was super athletic and I was super fast, but I hated running, so track was out. And instead, I'm like, you know what? Cheerleading sounds good. I can do cheerleading. I can chant cheers and get all because I'm a hype girl.
Yeah.
I'm a hype girl. I get excited easily, and I wanted to get involved with something. Cheerleading didn't intimidate me. I'm like, I can do that. I can hold pom poms in my hand. I can learn to do a cartwheel split, and I could cheer the football team on and have fun with it. And I became a cheerleader, and I loved every minute of it. What did I just say? Okay, I just heard what I said, and I get how it could land the wrong way. It may have sounded like, quote, I was athletic but not confident enough for sports, so I just tried out for cheerleading. And honestly, even repeating that now makes me cringe. So let me be crystal clear. Cheerleaders are athletes, period. The strength, stamina, and skill it takes to perform, stunt, dance, and lead a crowd, it's no joke. And if I could go back and re-record that part of the story, here's what I meant to say. Back then, I hadn't even heard of field hockey or lacrosse. And while I was athletic enough to learn, I didn't have the confidence to try. But something in me was confident enough to take that athleticism and try out for cheerleading. And looking back now, the universe put me exactly where I belonged, moving, dancing, cheering, using my energy and my leadership skills, my innate leadership skills to be everyone's biggest fan. So, to all the past, present, and future cheerleaders, and to the moms, aunts, and grandmothers cheering and who have cheered them on, I see you, I celebrate you, I am with you, and I sincerely apologize for implying otherwise. All right, let's get back to the episode.
And that's why I
And that's why today I cheer and cheer on and dare on other women like me because I know what it's like to feel stuck, to feel lost without purpose, to feel just like I'm floating without any direction. I was there and I want to cheer and dare, say that 5 times fast, other women just like me so that they can
Yeah.
feel the excitement that I've been feeling over the last 10 years.
I'm so hooked. I'm truly hooked. I want to know. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I could envision the girls on either side, the square peg, round hole. And you were even more interesting because you said there weren't any holes that I could fit into. So it was a great story. And it's one that you don't have to remember verbatim because you lived it. So you can just start talking. And when you share your story without being in your head, you got out of your head
I
and
did.
you did a memory
I
and you
did.
shared. And so the where the mastery and the moment, the mic drop moments come in is to say, okay, how do I take that and string it together? So you could start out your story to say, imagine a line stretching from here to here, and you might give a point A to a point B. And now you're on one side of the line and you're forced to go over to the other side of the line. And here's what you see. And then you can share your story. I would work on that a little bit. That's
Yeah.
because that's not quite right, but it's along those lines. And here's the truth
Oh,
uh, uh, between someone who just shares what they do and someone who wants to bring you along on a journey to keep the conversation going so they can say, tell me more, or they can be interested. And it just becomes a much more comfortable conversation. And women have a gift at creating comfort when we do it well, when we choose to. And when we can talk about what we do in a way that brings joy to other people, we're actually going to have more joy as we're sharing the story. Plus, we get to live that memory
mm,
again. And it's
oh,
powerful. So, so powerful. And then you want to lead it to what you do. You want to make sure you lead it to what you do.
I love that.
This is a homework assignment.
I'm telling you, ladies, my late the ladies out there listening to me right now, I took one for the team just now. I took
You
one for the
did.
team. I sat in the hot seat with Coach Jen Rogers for my mic drop moment. I love it. I always learn, and I know what you just did for everybody out there too, because
Yeah.
you learn through example. You learn through stories. That's how you do
Yeah.
it. And I love that. And you gave me something, you gave me a gift. A true gift in a new story that I've never really shared with anybody. I
Yeah.
realized in this moment talking to you, and I hope you're listening out there. The woman who's saying, I have stories like this too. I know you're saying it. I
Yeah.
have a lot of them if I really think about them. A lot. And you're giving me a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
I wish I could just like Harry Potter, take my wand, pull the idea right out and save it in a tube right now so I can go back and look at it. So thank you. Love
This
that.
is why we journal. This is why we journal because there's something that happens when we're touching the pencil. And I'm being intentional here about saying pencil and or pen. You can use either one, but not your notes on your phone. It's proven that we do not have the same level of retention. And it's, you know why? Here's from the book of Jen why I think this is. Because you have to slow down because my mind races. I have a lot of thoughts. I am an idea generator. They just keep coming and I have to practice slowing my mind down. So when I have to write things down, that means I have to slow down my
Yeah,
thinking.
it's true.
And that's why it works because then it solidifies in us. That was a lot of fun. And I want to give you a pro tip as a podcast coach. Okay. So if you are guesting on a podcast, and let's just consider it, even if you're not guesting on a podcast, the next networking event that you go to, the next person that you meet, you can practice this and see how it works. You will be amazed at how people just get drawn in. You want to have the confidence to introduce yourself in a way that keeps the conversation going. And when you start out and you're funny and you're interesting or light, you don't even have to be funny, but you're just light and good natured, it just gives someone else permission, maybe to get out of their own head as well. So practice, find a story. This goes back to if you were looking at the woman on the stage saying, oh my gosh, I don't have this huge story to tell. We just proved you don't need one. You
True.
absolutely don't need one to
True.
teach a lesson. There are lessons that you have learned, again, that only you can share with your perspective. And it all starts with being able to introduce yourself in a way that is memorable because as you and I have talked about, if I don't remember, I'm going to remember you with pom poms now. I'm not going to
Yeah.
forget that. I'm going to remember that. Oh, so if I just met you, oh yeah, there's a woman, let's see, she switched schools and she became a cheerleader even though she was a great athlete. I guess that means maybe do I think that cheerleaders aren't athletes? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to explore that one. I don't know about
Oh my
that.
God. No. Oh my God. For all the cheerleaders, we are athletic. That's why I said
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. So, oh yeah, so here's what she does. She helps women with transitions. So then because I remember that, now I can refer you. But if I can't remember that you're Jody and you're married to so and so and your
Yeah.
kids are doing this and you're doing that and blah, 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 I'm out. And the people who you could impact with your experiences and your genius, they won't get it because I can't remember who you are because you didn't do a good job
Mm.
sharing who you are because of two reasons. You didn't practice or you don't believe. The practice is the easy part. And as women, it's the belief. We must believe that we have value and the stories that we share can change people's lives.
Oh, I can. Wow. Let's let that land there for a second. Take a pause.
Yeah.
That was really that was powerful, meaningful. For me, I believe for me it's taking the time to slow down
Yeah.
and practice.
Yeah.
Be intentional because I do. I don't have to do as much as I'm doing. So is that I'm and that's a lot. So yeah, I love oh my gosh. Wow. You're a wow.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you for that.
You're pretty wow yourself.
I like that because you want to be memorable,
Yeah.
that people can refer so you can be referable.
Yes.
And then if you do have a business, if you do have a podcast, you want to be profitable as your third.
Yeah.
You got the ables. You got the ables down there because you're able. I
That's
love it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to bring this almost to the dare, almost
Okay.
to the dare, because I love how we shared that whether you secretly want a podcast, be a speaker, or you just want to get out, forget just, or you simply want to get out there and meet people and see what's going on out there. And you can use all these tips that
Yeah.
Jen is giving you. I met a woman, I was so impressed by her. She was at a Chamber of Commerce event. A room of 50 women, and we stood up and everyone gave their 30-second. And she stood up, she said, I'm retired and I'm looking for what I want to do next. So I figured I would come here and see what everyone's doing. I can't even tell you how many women ran up to her afterwards to talk to her. So I just wanted to add that it doesn't have to be about podcasting. However, There are people out there that are secretly wanting to start their own podcast.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's room for everybody out here. Even though there's a lot of podcasts in the
Yeah.
podcast world, there's room for
Yeah.
everybody. But what would be the very first tip or step toward making that dream a reality that you would give to a newbie?
I'd give you a don't. Don't go buy a bunch of equipment. Don't even buy a microphone. You don't need any of that. The very first thing that you need is your why. Why a podcast? What is it about speaking in a microphone that has you saying yes? So, for me, if we go back to the very beginning of the story I shared, I know that I want to basically restore voices
Mhm.
because far too often our voices have been stolen when we're little and we work all our adult lives to reclaim our voice. So, a podcast is a great way to be able to do that because you articulate your ideas in a way that draw people in. You want to be interesting. And you and I have talked about edutaining. You need to educate and be entertaining. And we've done a pretty good job of being entertaining and educating at the same time in a way that invites your audience in. So, what is the why behind your podcast? Why do you want to launch one? And you and I also talked about you can launch it as a hobby. It's a very expensive hobby, and the biggest expense is time. So
Yes.
if you are not willing to show up at least once a week for your audience and record and edit your episodes, I know. So, hey, hello, Riffer. If you are a Riffer out there, that rhymes with my nickname, which is Niffer, but it doesn't work. And here's why it doesn't work. There are your audience, you have this huge stewardship responsibility to your audience to make it a good experience for them. And that requires some editing because there are some missteps. Maybe the doorbell rings, or maybe the dog comes up and jumps on your computer or something like that. But your sound is essential that it's good.
Yeah.
So if you do video, then you've got some bigger things to worry about. So I definitely recommend that you understand the why so that when you run into all that other stuff, you know, yep, I want to show up consistently for my audience. And if you want to monetize, you need to start with the end in mind. Okay, how can I do that?
Right. No, great tips, great tips. And we're going to get into how they can do that with you and
Uh-huh.
where they can find you in a minute. But everybody gets it. You don't leave here without a dare. You don't leave the podcast without leaving a dare for the listeners. So what's the dare you have?
I bet you know what it is. I bet you do. I bet anybody could guess what the dare is, and that is to eliminate just. And when you eliminate I am just, you can focus on the I am. I am a woman who embraces a dare.
Mhm.
I am a woman who is deciding that this season of life that I'm in is going to be the best season yet. Yes, I miss my kids. Yes, I miss my job. Yes, I wish at times that this thing that happened, like maybe if you're like me and you experienced a resign firing, maybe you wish that thing didn't happen, but it did happen. We can't go back and change the past. So the only thing that we can do is we can change the future. And it really does start with our thinking and then verbalizing it. We need to hear out loud. So when you're saying I am, what are you filling the blank in with? Is it negative? Because if it is, your brain is reacting that, oh, I don't like green eggs and ham, so I don't eat green eggs and ham, for example.
Right.
But if you say, I am a woman who is determined to figure this out, it's okay that I don't know the how. I mean, it pisses me off. I really do want the how. I mean, let's face it.
And it can be
But
frustrating.
yes, very frustrating. But it's okay that I don't know it yet. Now, I'm going to establish some timeline or something where I'm going to move forward on this thing that's important for me to do. So, when you say no to just in front of anything, I mean, pay attention to this word
Yeah.
because you are more than just something. You are quite something. And it starts with you believing it in your mind and speaking it out loud and continuing to practice. You'll make some mistakes, you'll make some missteps, we all do, but catching it, that's the first step to moving towards perfecting it. Not that we'll ever get there, but we're going to get that. Practice makes much, much better. Never makes perfect, but it makes much, much better.
Absolutely. It's the noticing. It's the same thing with mindful with meditation. It's not about quieting your mind. It's noticing when it goes away, you lose focus and bringing it back. Notice when you say just. The first start to anything is noticing and self-awareness. So thank you.
Yeah.
Dare to eliminate just. Dare to notice when you're using it and how you're using it, and then flip the script. I love it. There is so much insight and golden goody nuggets from you in this episode. I hope you'll like, I hope the listeners will rewind it because I'm going to listen to it over and over again as well. So, Jen, where can
Yeah.
listeners connect with you and learn more about you and your virtual podcast school and all the brilliance you bring to the world?
Oh, thank you for asking. So I'm going to give a hot tip here. If you are a podcast coach, or sorry, not coach, if you are a podcast host, meaning you have your own podcast, you already have passed one huge hurdle with the audience. They're already podcast listeners. So you want to share your podcast. Hey, just go into your podcast app and find this podcast. So my podcast is Simplify Podcasting because I believe we've overcomplicated podcasting and we really can simplify it by focusing on these things to create these mic drop moments to get masterful at what we do. So recommend, if you are a podcast host, recommend your show because you've already gone past that hurdle. Now, if you don't have your own show and you're guesting on somebody else's show, then you give a different call to action. Here's the one call to action you never give. You know what that one is?
I know. Go to my website, jodysilverman.com. Why do I know? Because that's what I did until you, until you.
It's the graveyard. When you send someone to your website, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is, and yours is quite beautiful. It doesn't matter how beautiful it is because once they get there, you haven't told them what to do next. So they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They absolutely don't know what to do.
So tell them again where to connect with you.
Yes. So I'm not going to tell you to go to the virtualpodcastschool.com because that is the graveyard. In fact, Jody, I'm going to ask if you will put a link in the show notes so they can connect with me on Facebook and they can connect with me on LinkedIn.
You got
And
it.
I don't know if you know, but Jen Rogers is a pretty common name. So there are a lot out there. So I'm the Jen Rogers. I was able to get the Jen Rogers on LinkedIn. And then I think I'm Jen Rogers and the Jen Rogers on Facebook. It's ridiculous. So the
I'll
link
link
in the
it.
show notes.
Okay.
That's
I
where to
will
go.
link Facebook and LinkedIn. And you are the Jen Rogers. You are the only, the original, the best. And I can't thank you enough for saying yes and being a guest on our show.
Yes.
This is by far one of my most fun episodes. I thank
Oh,
you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, everyone, take a breath. Take a deep breath. If your head's spinning a little, if you're realizing just how often you say just, or how long it's been since you really felt heard, that's not an accident. That's the voice inside you getting louder. That's you waking up to your superpower. So let me say this plainly. Your story matters. Your voice matters. You matter. And yes, you can have your own mic drop moment anytime, anywhere. So if this episode sparks something in you, even a tiniest flicker, follow that, journal it out, talk it out. And if you've got room for one more podcast in your rotation, make it Jen Rogers' show, Simplifying Podcasting. She'll dare you, stretch you, and support you in finding and using the voice that's been waiting for its spotlight. And hey, if you've got a secret desire to start a podcast or you're just curious, don't sit on it. Call Jen. Reach out. And don't forget to grab the 7-day self-talk cleanup challenge linked in the show notes below. It's a mini reset to clean up the way you speak to yourself, complete with a powerful section on word swapping so you can stop shrinking and start standing tall. And here's another great way to use your voice. If this episode meant something to you, share it with a friend. Use your voice and leave us a review. Those simple acts go a long way in helping other women like you find this space and their voice. Till next time, dare on, friend.